What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the BookMine Academy. In this video, we're going to talk about book seasonality. It's the fact that some books sell really well during specific times of the year and then pretty much don't sell for anything or don't sell at all outside of that season. I'm obviously joined by my good friend, Victor Gallegos. What's going on, man?
Hey, Joji, how's it going? Some people call me like the seasonal master. So this is a really fun video. I'm really excited about it, actually, because this is how I find really great books, is by kind of spotting patterns. So this is a great video, and I'm excited to get into it.
If you guys want a long form content version of this, I interviewed Victor on my YouTube channel almost a year ago now, and he blew everyone's minds. And if you want to go back and watch that video, you can do that here, but let's get right into the video. All right, so we're over here on BookMine, and what's really awesome about using BookMine is that we also have a filter that's called book type. And if you click that button, you can see there's a drop down here. Victor, what are the different types of books that we're going to be looking for seasonality on BookMine?
Yeah, so we really section into the four main sections for us, right? Winter, high school, college, and all year round books, because those are the major big seasons. There's tons of other seasons, but we've sectioned them into these four.
Yep. And so again, this is BookMine Academy. We're going to try to teach you how to read Keepa graphs and just give you foundation. So what we're going to do is just try to identify patterns on Keepa graphs so that you, by the end of this video, can easily look at a book and say, oh, that's a winter book. That's a high school book. That's a Thanksgiving book. That's a Jewish holiday book. That's a book about refrigeration and HVAC. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that.
Butterflies.
Yeah, exactly. We can go on and on. So let's just start with, I think, something that everyone understands, which is just like Christmas or winter. So I'm going to go ahead and just click the winter books. You can see right now, BookMine has found 13 books that are apparently going to be Christmas books that we can take a look at. And yeah, I mean, we're just going to open up this Keepa graph right here. So you can see its book type is winter. You can see Christmas is even in the title here. And let's open up the Keepa link. So what sort of pattern would we be looking for to identify this is a book that has seasonality?
If you're out in the wild looking for a book on Keepa and you find a book that kind of just has a ton of demand, tons of green lines in a certain period of time, you have to go try to figure out why, right? So for this particular book in November, December, tons of green lines, tons of people are buying this book. So right away, I'm thinking, okay, this book must have something going on, or November and December. So that's how I kind of figured out, without even having to look at the title or anything, this has to be a Christmas book.
Right. It's likely to be one. How would you figure out if that's a repeatable pattern? Like, how do I know this isn't just a fluke? Like, it's just not happening this year.
Yeah, so when I just see that pattern on its own, well, the first thing you can, because there's other reasons why maybe that has happened. Maybe the author just came on a YouTube channel or on TV, or maybe, unfortunately, maybe passed away. Something like that could have happened this year for that particular book. But in order to see if there's a pattern, basically all you have to do, instead of clicking on a year, click the entire history of the book to see if that trend has repeated every year. And it's clear, right? Every year, tons and tons of demand.
Clear as day.
Yeah, November, December, every year. And even the used price goes up with that November, December timeframe. So definitely very clear, and it's easily shown that it's a Christmas book.
Yep. So you can see the little humps there. Basically, the whole year, nothing, hump. Next year, nothing, hump. Next year, nothing, hump, and so on and so on. And with the sales rank, the green line here, we see basically a U-shaped pattern. You can see it, really well. If we zoom in just the last 3 years, you can see that U-shaped sales rank pattern where Victor was just saying, bunch of little green lines, very short, all together in one seasonality. Now, what's another indicator that the book is actually selling besides just the sales rank? What can we look at this bottom graph down here, Victor, that's also going to kind of confirm with us that this is also a Christmas book selling during?
It's also really healthy to see that, what we're looking at. So basically, the used offer count is pretty high, say in October, but then it really just dives. It almost basically gets to zero each and every year, which means that if you have a copy, there's a really good chance, as with every other year, your book is going to sell out. So definitely, this book is really healthy. It's a really great, popular Christmas book. I mean, it goes from $2 to I don't even know the highest, probably $50, $80 at some points. So great book, real healthy. Those are definitely things I'm looking for.
Awesome book there. So again, that was found by BookMine. That's something that, again, right now it's a little bit expensive. It's about $20. Now, the reason why BookMine found it is because there have been a few sales of this book at $70, Victor.
Yeah.
And that's after Christmas. So I don't know why people are buying this book after Christmas, but some people do. That's actually a pattern that I see in a lot of these books as well. But obviously, clearly, it's going to sell mostly here. Now, is this a price you'd want to be paying for this book right now? $20?
No, because there's going to be even much less demand here in say March, April, May. So I'm wanting to get that book back to that $2 range, where with $2 with shipping and everything, about $6, $7.
Is there any easy way we can get notified, not have to sit there and write it on a refrigerator or something to go back and check it?
Try to remember it all or write it down in your notes.
Right.
Yeah, we can track books, right, on Keepa. So if you have a subscription, you are allowed to track up to 5,000 books. So definitely a Christmas book, I'm tracking. So I would track that book for about like $2 to $3 probably.
Yeah.
Or if I want to track it with shipping, maybe $6 or $7. And
Right.
then whenever that price hits, I'm going to be a person that buys it.
Yeah. So I would say, you can track this maybe $2.50, something like
Yeah.
that. So if you track, you can come up here into the used price. You can say $2.50. That would not include shipping. So you could say start tracking for 10 years. I mean, this is a book, Victor. I'm pretty sure in the next decade, it's probably going to do the same pattern over and over again,
Yeah.
considering that's what it's done in the previous decade. Now, if you wanted to include shipping, you could say, hey, I want this to be $6, include free shipping, this button here. You can go and click track. So a really easy way for you guys to do that. Let's just look at the next book, just Mary Berry's Christmas Collection. Again, obviously it's in the title, but again, Victor, I'm probably beating a dead horse here, but how do you know that this book is selling very, very well?
This is a whole nother level of a Christmas book, right?
Yeah.
So this really, really sells really well. And again, you can tell because November, December, tons and tons of green lines really in demand. So this is compared to the other book, they're not even in the same level. But a book like this, if I could find it at a good price, I'm buying at least 5 copies of a book like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Yeah, this is a book that's just flying off the charts. Amazing. You can see this previous December, it was getting down into the sub 10,000s, which is just literally flying off the charts. Under 6,000, that's incredible. We found a couple books there. What are other book types that we can look at besides those?
I mean, my bread and butter are high school books. So that is probably the next category, great category to look at. And similar to winter books, we're looking for a pattern that has a particular month or two that really spike up. And
Right.
for high school books, that's really like July, August, and maybe even a little bit of September.
Right. You can actually see the Saxon book here. So Saxon, if you guys didn't know, Saxon is a homeschool publisher. So we already know, Victor and I, just from having experience, having done this for a long time, that this is going to be a high school book. It's a homeschool book. So it's, going to oftentimes be for high school, for those for homeschool. What are you seeing here, Victor, with the sales rank? It does kind of look like all year round it's selling, but do you see any period of time where it does appear to be selling a little bit better?
Yeah, so Saxon, as you said, is a homeschool book. So a lot of people tend to buy it all year long. But then right when school starts, you're going to get a ton of demand, much more than the rest of the year. And that's typical of what this book is. So definitely very normal for a high school book. August, September, lots of demand. I would definitely classify this as a high school book.
And then what do you also see in as far as used offer count? Does that also confirm kind of your suspicion there?
Yeah, good point. Yes, the used offer count once the season starts to go down. So another very healthy high school book because during the selling season of that book, it just has been going steadily down, close to almost zero, maybe like 5 copies there at the end of the season. So
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah, it looks like you got down to 5 or so. And again, one more time, Victor, what's a one way we can, just further solidify that this is over a long period of time, actually a repeatable high school book?
Yeah, good point. So what you want to do again, after you found a pattern, you're excited, hey, I think this is a high school book. Let me verify that it's a high school book, then go and click the entire history of that book, and then go and see if that pattern has happened each and every year. And if we looked at it, definitely even just the 3 years, I mean, this last 3 years, really great. The last every year, basically, it's been really, really popular in that July, August, and your time frame.
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect.
Amazing high school book here. And again, the reason why BookMine found this is that you can see it just dipped in price from 23 and it's down here to about the $13 range, which over the last year has been the cheapest it's ever been. It's actually about a third kind of what it's been. And you can see if we put this buy box price in, it looks like the buy box prices we're getting in the 40s at the start of the season, pretty much sustained the whole time, and even some in the 50s. So
wow.
That's the reason why BookMine found this is because it just, decreased in price, $13. It's a good price, not a great price, because it's not like, the book was selling for 60 or 70, but it's still selling for over double. And this is a book you would make money on. Like, this is a book I would buy because I know that this is a book that is going to continue to do well. So really cool book that BookMine found there. I think we did a pretty good job.
Yep.
It's clear. I mean, you guys are going to get to the point where you guys can just look at the Keepa graph. Oh, yeah. High school book.
Yep.
And so over time, as you guys just kind of look at the title books, you look at the sales rank, you look at the used prices, how they go. I mean, it's going to be pretty obvious to you. You're going to see, hey, this is AP course. Let's just look at this book because I know this book is going to show a lot of seasonality, just some of that snapshot. I mean, Victor, what the heck is going on with this book? I mean,
without question, this is a really popular high school book, right?
Look at that sales rank.
Tons of demand for months, right? Starting there in June. So definitely a really great high school book. And I think the price right now is really great price for it.
Yeah.
It's just obvious once you kind of be able to read these charts. And so definitely high school book, definitely a book you would want in your inventory by by May, right? You
Yeah,
want this in
absolutely.
your stock by then because this book is going to start to sell in June.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
incredible. So again, this is another book that BookMine found you. I mean, essentially, you pick this book up for like $5 last year. You can pick it up for maybe a little bit more expensive this year as of right now. One of the reasons being the offer count is lower than it has been in the past. But I mean, look at those buy box prices. I mean, even if you sell this at the shoulder prices at the 40 range,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're still wildly profitable. But some of these guys, Victor, were buy boxing in the hundreds, which some of those probably
And,
did sell.
and
Although
I'm
I
sure
would
I was
not.
one of them.
Yeah. Which I
Yeah.
would not necessarily suggest that, you wait out and try to sell every book for
That's
that
right.
price because you do want to sell the book and make sure you're profitable. But even at that shoulder price, shoulder price meaning like if my head is
Yeah.
the peak of the graph, my shoulders are like the point where you're starting to see the peak. So hopefully that makes sense, but amazing book there. Now, we've just kind of classified high school and winter. What's going on with college here? What would we expect? Is there anything different between a high school book and a college book?
There is. So in a college book, basically there's two kind of really in demand seasons, right? So we both have a January season and an August season. So you think about a college student, they go to school both in January and August, and they both need textbooks during that period. So you're going to tend to see a lot of demand at those particular points. So if you see a book that it has a lot of demand in January, and then again, a lot of demand in August, you probably found yourself a college book.
Yeah, here's a great example. You can see this is basically a few year period all the way in January. Sales rank gets down to 10,000, stereotypical U shape. Then you can
Yep.
see it's up higher, meaning it's less popular, it's not selling. Then it U shape again in August, same repeated pattern. Now, this is a book that over time has been selling less frequently, and so it doesn't have that pattern as much anymore. But it's still, still clearly had the pattern here. I mean, it got down 10,000.
Yeah.
Then January got down to about 70,000. So same sort of pattern there. You can kind of see it a little bit in September and January this year, but that's essentially going to be the difference between high school and a college book. So seasonality for the college books are going to be January and September. Now, question for you: is it possible for a college textbook, to have another season besides just January and besides just August? Is it possible?
Yeah. So, I mean, as probably a lot of you guys who went to college see, there's also a summer season, right? So, a lot of people tend to stay at their college and try to take summer classes, and they also need books. So you'll be able to see that also there's sometimes a small spike in May if the book is popular enough. So the book's popular enough, you're going to see that type of spike. If not, then you're not going to really see it in May. But yeah, they sometimes do have that extra spike.
Yeah. So what I did is I just went ahead and put the selling meter 6 to 10. So again, selling meter, as you move it closer, higher up from 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 10, you're going to get books that sell more frequently. And so you might be able to start to see some books that have that seasonality in May as well. So we may or may not find it here, but
That politics one, the one above it looked like it too.
let's see. This one right here. Yeah, let's take a look at it. So yeah, it looks like it looks like year round this book can do pretty well, but but you kind of see it. Yeah, you can see it here. So you can see January 2022 U shape, sales rank goes up, a little bit of a U shape here, but not as insane as January.
Right.
So there's like Victor mentioned, a little bit of a May season for some of the more popular textbooks, but we just want to make you aware that sometimes it can have 3 U's, but generally it's going to be 2 seasons for those sorts of books. Now, then we've got all year, and what does all year kind of mean?
Yeah, so just by its name, kind of a giveaway. So an all year round book basically means that this book is so popular it sells all year long, right? It actually might be a college book or a high school book, but the fact that it sells the entire year and really doesn't skip a beat, the entire year it's just selling a ton, and so we're calling that a all year round book, or some people tend to also call that an evergreen book.
Absolutely. Evergreen, all year book. Think of books that are non-textbooks. Think of books like a book about very specific type of knitting. It's probably not seasonal, right? Because you can knit if it's warm or if it's cold or if so that's a book probably does year round. So just think about books that aren't necessarily textbooks. They're probably just going to sell year round kind of. Now, there are
And Joji, do you tend to think about buying a lot of all year round books? Is that something in your inventory?
Absolutely. Yeah, when I'm on BookMine, so obviously there's book types, and you're always going to want to prepare for these seasons because a lot of your success is going to come from that seasonality, taking advantage of it. But on BookMine, me specifically, I like to be just looking at books that are sort of more niche books that have dropped in price that sell year round, and that's going to be a big part of my inventory. So here's a good example. This is a book about quilts, right? So Miss Rosie's Spice of Life Quilts. I don't see any reason why this book would have seasonality, right? Because you have to ask yourself, why would does this subject matter have anything to do with seasonality? Quilting, I don't think there's a season for quilting versus hunting deer or hunting turkey or fishing for salmon. Like those are things that you're like, oh, okay, yeah, there's probably a season where you do that. But I mean, knitting, I mean, what
Yeah.
do you think? Is there quilting or knitting? I don't think so, right, Victor?
Yeah. Right.
So here's a great example of a book that's like a couple bucks. It's got historical sales in the high 20s and the 30s. I mean, this is a book that I'd be popping on all day. Great book. BookMine has found it. I would say, buying, what does BookMine say? All in price of $10. Yeah, this is a book at 35, I think would easily sell. Good book.
Yeah.
You agree, Victor?
I agree with you.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely a book I would purchase now. It's close to its historic lows.
Right. Yeah. You can see it has sustained sales rank drops in like the low 20s, even in the high 20s, and even up to the 30s as well. And also has periods where it does or has been out of stock as well, which is amazing there. So let's talk about other seasons here, Victor. I mean, is there only Christmas? Is there only high school season and college? I mean, is there anything else?
Books are so popular. There's 92 million books out there, or at least, right? So
Right.
there's definitely books for every holiday. Everything you can think of, there's probably a book for. So there are seasons that we did not include in BookMine. We included like the 4 major categories, what I would call. But there's other smaller seasons that you can go and check out. I mean, go look at it. And I think, let's dig into a few of them.
All right, so let's dive right into it. So here's a book about Passover. So if I look at this book over the last year, I'd say, oh, hey, it looks like it's sold a couple times here, but hey, there's a little clump of sales there. So not selling as much as some of the other books are, but again, using Victor's advice, looking at the entire historical selling data, what is something that we're seeing here in both sales rank and lowest use price, Victor?
So when I first saw that first year, I saw a small pattern there in like March and April. And so that would cause me to think, what happened in March and April? So that's when I would want to click on the entire year. And I noticed it happened every March and April. So then that would make me think, okay, so whatever this book is, people in March and April want this book. And so now knowing a little bit more about it, it's Passover, which usually happens in the end of March, beginning of April. It's a Jewish holiday.
Yeah.
And so that's why this book is popping off during that time.
Does the used offer count in this book also kind of solidify your confidence that this is going to be a seasonal book?
And another good point. Yes, it definitely does. Every March you can see starts pretty high and then it just really just crashes. I mean, it really goes all the way down. It literally almost sells out every year.
Or and obviously you can get it for a couple bucks and it can go easily in the mid 20s, even higher than that some years, depending on the offer count and stuff like that. Now, surely there's only one book about Passover, right, Victor?
We know that's not true, but yes, there's tons of books just like that. Yeah, exactly.
Here's another book, The Night of Questions. This one's a much easier one to see. You can see the sales rank gets very low. It used out there in March and April. And it still sells actually, I mean, somewhat decently throughout the rest of the year. But clearly, Victor, what are we seeing with sales rank from literally the entire history of this book?
Same great pattern where basically every March and April, that's how when you kind of zoom out and see the entire history of a book and you're able to see that type of pattern, you have some seasonal book that you can really depend on because it's happened every year. And Joji, people have asked me, well, but how do I know this next year it's going to do the same thing? And I always think like Passover, I think has been going on for, since before we were born. So what are we worried about? Buy this book at a couple of dollars and sell it for 30 to 40.
Right.
So
now you might be wondering how I'm looking at specific periods of time. So if I want to look at, let's say, what happened in this year, I can just left click with my mouse, drag, and then let go. And that's going to let me kind of zoom in to see a smaller section of time if you want to do that. Picture is another book, Passover. I mean, are you kidding me? No one would even think about, not no one, but nobody would think about this. I mean,
nobody would think about making money off of type of seasons like this, but it's easily seen right here. Right. And when you guys get really good at it, you can tell right away, okay, that's a seasonal book. And for some reason, March and April is this book's season. And you can make a lot of money off of books like this when you're able to spot the patterns. And that's another Passover book. Another great Passover book here. Hopefully you guys are able to quickly see that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we're kind of going a little bit faster now, but you can see the pattern. I'm hoping you can see the sales rank, how it used out during that period of time. You can see how the used prices spike as well. Yeah. And at this point, I think you get the point. Right. So, okay. Well, we got stuff besides just Passover. What do we got here? This is a special book.
Yeah. So this is a pretty awesome book because it's a really, really popular book. And it's a Jewish holiday book also. So this Jewish holiday happens to be at the end of August to September, depending on actually when it falls on the calendar. But yeah, really, really dependable. I mean, Keepa's been tracking this book for 4,700 days. And every year this book is popping. So I imagine it happened even before Keepa was tracking this book that was like that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So you can really depend on that this book is going to be a $50 book. So if you can find this book, say under $25, maybe $20, that's probably a really good price for it. But again, you spotted the pattern because you're noticing something's up with this book. Hey, this book is some reason in August, something's happening with it. So that's why you kind of dig into it a little bit more.
Yep. Let's go and look at another book. This is a really fascinating one. This is Butterflies Through Binoculars. I don't know about you, Victor, but
why do you think this book is popping? It's kind of weird that it looks like it's happening over here in August and September, Doji.
Yeah, well, let me just go and follow your advice. Wow, okay, I see a little bit of a pattern here. I see the used offer count goes down here. I see that sales rank gets really low here. So I know this book, for some reason, is selling here. Okay, it's about butterflies. Butterflies through binoculars. Whoa, binoculars. Maybe people are looking at butterflies. Is it Guide to Butterflies of Eastern North American? Okay. Where's Eastern North America? That's where Victor is actually at.
Right.
Maybe there are people who want to look at butterflies during a specific period. I mean, I'm pretty sure butterflies migrate, right? Don't they migrate?
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, there you go.
There you go, right? Look at this. I mean, we're making it kind of a little silly. But we want to just like drive the point home. Like, there's tons of books out there that are like this. And here's one example. You guys can see that in the past, the sales rank has been amazing on this book during that specific time of the year. But the reason why this book is so amazing now is what, Victor? What's happened in 2022?
I mean, 2022, what happened with this book? Amazon went out of stock.
Yeah.
And so, so once Amazon goes out of stock, there's no more cap on that book. Now the cap is only basically as high as you want to price the book.
Yeah. And obviously within reason, right? You probably shouldn't price that at $100, but based upon historical sales, right? And easily in the 30s, this is a book that would do really well. So we've got butterflies, again, something that I think a lot of people wouldn't think about. We got something coming up really soon here. And what's the holiday we got coming up really soon?
Yeah, so Easter is a really big holiday coming up, and a lot of people want to buy Easter type of merchandise, and also that includes books. So there are a lot of Easter books to also go and check out, and they also start spiking around Easter, as this book is one of them.
Yeah, the previous Easter on this book was absolutely incredible. I mean,
totally sold out.
We just had a really low offer count going into the season. I mean, you can literally see there are people coming in at such low prices and selling out immediately. And that's the power of understanding Keepa and having strong foundational Keepa knowledge. Would you say, Victor, that these people are leaving money on the table? These people who are coming in at $30 during the season?
They are, but they also probably made their money because they bought it much cheaper earlier in the season. But yeah, I mean, there was one book that's selling for $74 and he had it for less than an hour over there. So
So these people are making their money. So obviously being able to, like, for example, whoever listed at 1753 was clearly not looking at the data. They kind of just listed it, and so that's why being able to have these foundational Keepa skills, which is what BookMine Academy is about, is really going to help you guys be on that next level as a bookseller. We've got another one here. It's not selling nearly as much, but still a book that has seen that pattern. So again, following Victor's advice, let's look at the last entire historical selling data of this book. And what do you see, Victor?
Really strong pattern right around February and March. I've noticed that pattern even with that 1 year, the first year, and then I would have wanted to see the entire sales history of that book to realize, oh, this great pattern.
And we got ourselves the Easter Egg Artist. And again, see that same pattern here. This book was buy box in the 20s, even up in the 30s. Look at that offer count drop, Victor.
And you know what's happening? You can tell it's about to start happening now because you can see the used offer count already starting to drop. That's exciting.
That little windfall.
Yeah, right. You can already see it's starting to see. Yeah.
Yeah. We saw that kind of tail out here at the beginning at the same time last year. And then you can see it took that nosedive. So here's a great example of a book right now that I would be buying, right? So idea is you're probably gonna pick this up for about 10 or 11. The goal would probably be try to sell in the high 20s, maybe low 30s. I think would be a good bet there. And again, we can see every single year that's a pattern that's happened. Also with the used offer count, also with the sales rank, and also with the used prices. So last thing, just to give you even more, guys. Sarah gives thanks how Thanksgiving became a national holiday. When you see in the sales rank drop here.
So without even reading the title, I can right away see that, okay, well, this isn't a Christmas book because it's not popping in December, but for some reason in November, something's happening with this book. So for whatever this book is, people wanted it in November. So I would want to look at that book and then again, look at the entire history as we've looked at the other books to see if that pattern has remained consistent. And again, here you can see that it has. And then looking at the title, Thanksgiving, okay, all checks. This is definitely a Thanksgiving book that you want to purchase at least a few months before Thanksgiving and have it in stock. So you could be one of the people that sells the book.
All right, guys, that was a really long video for BookMine Academy, but we wanted to drive home the importance of seasonality. Again, on BookMine, you're going to be able to find tons of high school books, tons of college books, tons of winter books, and you're also, more importantly, going to be able to start tracking those. So you're going to be able to find them using BookMine, probably buy some of them with BookMine, but then also track them for the where you're going to start to build a replans list, books that you can sell I mean, is Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and are these happening every year?
They're happening every year. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure they're going to happen in 2024. I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is how you guys can build that list and use BookMine to help you guys get there. Hope you guys saw value in this. And if you did, make sure you check out the rest of the BookMine Academy. Anything else, Victor, before we head out?
No, that pretty much covers it. It was an exciting video. So
All right. Sounds good. See you in the next one. Goodbye.
thanks.